I think we're recording.
All right.
Welcome to Some Roads Lead There. And looky here, who we have back with us. It's Mike. Mike, welcome back.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
As always.
I was recording a bunch in the beginning, and then after the episode I did with you, I've only done one other video.
I had that effect on you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of felt like, yes and no. Like in all seriousness, I kind of felt like I really enjoyed the dual, I like the dialogue better than the
was good.
monologue. And
gotcha.
so, yeah, so I think, although I'm going to still record individually, but I kind of feel
Yeah.
like the discussion part is more fun if you're engaged actively.
I just want to go on record as saying your snowstorm walk. That's one of my favorite all-time YouTubes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Thank you. Oh man, it's you know what? I realized too, the people that like put content out all the time. I think that it's not easy. It's not as easy as it looks.
Content is not easy to come by.
No, because
Yeah.
and even the last couple of days, I really just didn't even feel like I didn't feel like doing it. Just didn't feel like doing it. So I didn't really push myself, and I figured we were going to do something soon anyway.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
So
we're here.
We're here, and we've got a few different topics. So this is a little different. We're not doing the another marathon review yet,
But
but
we will.
that was fun though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. We were kind of like reliving it, and I'm looking forward to doing the New Jersey one too.
Me too, man. It's going to be good.
But tonight we have a few different topics to cover, and this is really probably way back when we first talked about doing the like a podcast discussion. We talked about doing more of a discussion about these types of things, right?
Yeah.
Not like marathon reviews and stuff like. Certainly not heart surgeries.
Less concrete.
Yeah, less concrete, more
abstract.
more just kind of wandering through the woods type discussion.
Stuff we're good at, rambling for a while. Yeah.
Rambling without saying so much. But anyway, let's talk first about surgery. I'll give a little surgery update. Not that there's much to update, but just that because I kind of forget what I've talked about and maybe even the last video. But basically, we're probably 5 weeks out today from a surgery. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's going to be Friday the
time's
19th.
Yeah.
Yeah, March 19th is a Friday, so we're about 5 weeks out, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like, as strange as that sounds, not looking forward to it in the sense of like I would be looking forward to going to like Wild Wings,
Yeah. Yeah.
or anything.
Seems to me you want to get there.
I'd like to get it over with
yeah,
though. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and I'm sure I'll talk about it before then, but I think it's going to go well. But anyway, so that's
Me too,
that.
man. 100%.
Yeah, you know what I do. Oh, okay. So I read. You know what it is? The one thing that happened was I read the book that they give you.
Oh, that's a good thing. I mean, if they give you a book, you should read it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if I didn't read it, it's okay. I mean, I don't actually do any of the surgery, so as far as I know,
it's not self-service?
You know what? If that's the case, then I'm hoping that it reflects in the bill.
Yeah. 10% off.
Yeah, if I'm putting in work. I don't think so, though. I don't think they let me participate. I don't want to participate, but this is a book. It was actually a really nice book that the Robert Wood Johnson team put together, and so it did well in answering pretty much all my questions, that I had, or
That's good.
The one thing is interesting though is I guess for the surgery, your heart has to be still while they work on it.
Like how still?
Like completely still. So they basically, they take the heart out of play. Basically stopping the heart, and they, run your blood through like a bypass machine. So they're basically like saying, heart, you're off duty. And they do that. This machine does the job of the heart while you're in surgery, and then they let the heart get back to business. And
that is
that's not the wording that they used in the manual. It didn't talk about the heart getting back.
A little bit more technical.
Back a little more technical, but so I thought that was
dude.
yeah. So I think reading that, I was like, okay. And then definitely it was one of those things that like, thought about it a little bit further.
Yeah.
You know,
you can go deep on those.
yeah, so I think, it was, yeah, so, but I'm not really, spending too much time on that. I just, it was a nice,
Yep.
yeah, it was a nice little primer into
Gotcha.
what the doctor's gonna do, so. Anyway, all right, so
Alright.
that's pretty much what's going on with that. Maybe we'll touch upon it again at some point. Treating yourself now, we had some wings today.
Some. Some.
Some
Couple
wings,
dozen.
some wings
whatever.
were eaten here. What, I mean, it's kind of it's a good thing to talk about because, here we are. I'm on the beginning of this health journey.
Yeah.
And I got surgery coming up, and here I am eating wings. Is that out of the fryer? Is this bad practice? Is it bad form, guys? Is this bad form? Is this wrong? Have I just committed some sort of atrocity of culinary enjoyment? I don't know.
I think not. I think, dude. I think no. I think, dude, you've been doing good. I think you've figured out how to build good habits for eating, and every now and then you treat yourself to something. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's actually good. I think it's good to mess with your body a little bit, and give it
Yeah.
a surprise every now and then.
I think so too. I mean, I definitely think though there's a fine line between the treat and then
Gluttony.
Well, the treating yourself can become like more habit than treat, right? I mean,
It's got to be the exception, not the rule.
right.
It's got to be. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the one thing that's interesting is that just knowing when to say when and everything. So, but yeah, we had a good time with that today. But it is one of those interesting things because that is probably the biggest factor in me being able to actually not to lose weight. I know I could lose weight, but to actually be able to like lose weight and then maintain
Stable.
the optimal weight.
Yep. Yeah, no. If
You know,
the only way to do that is build a good habit from eating, and don't be
Yeah.
on a diet.
Yeah. And also be consistent with the exercise. And I think that's the thing that's been helping too, is I've been real consistent with walking and really enjoying the walking.
That's good, man. I remember listening to Joe Rogan, and he had this guy on that was all about like nutrition and stuff, and his whole thing was live in a caloric deficit, right? So eat what you want to eat, enjoy food, but do that exercise so that you're burning a little bit more than you're taking in, and you should be good.
What about counting calories? Because I think we talked about this a little bit before. I feel like it's so cumbersome. Like I feel like it.
Dude,
like
I've
it
never been able
kicks
to do
It's the kick in the shin to spontaneity to just living. Is like stopping and pulling out your phone and be hold on. Let me see if I can figure.
I
this
think
out.
that ruins the food, no matter what you're eating for. I mean, like
Yeah.
it just does, right? Like it drags it down. For me, it makes me think I'm doing a bad thing. So I don't like to count the calories because I need to eat.
Yeah.
You gotta,
The trick for me though is that I know that I will. There's probably plenty of nights where I am maybe 1,000, 2,000 calories over, and not
That's
that
a
I'm
lot of calories,
not that
man.
I'm completely unaware of it, but it can happen real quickly because
well, I mean,
especially
that's
if
like a bowl of ice cream away. You know what I mean?
well, even if you eat healthy, I mean, I think that's the thing is that like let's say that, and I think that we talked about this before, where I might be eating at night for reasons other than nutrition, hunger, even hunger.
Yeah.
I'm listening to other signals
sure.
and eating for other reasons, and I might be eating healthy. I might be eating nuts. I might be eating fruit.
That's good.
But those are two things.
Still more calories that you don't need.
Those are things that could be. Sometimes I'm even, when I think about it, I'm like, I should have just had like a bowl of oatmeal, because that would have filled me up.
Less calories would have filled you up.
Yeah. Sometimes you try to like piecemeal it instead of like, oh, let me just have a little bit of nuts or a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of berries, and then before you know it, now you're 600 calories into,
Yeah, basically a fourth meal of the day.
Yeah. I don't know. So we'll see. It's not that important right now. I have not
You've
been
pretty,
counting.
you've been pretty stable for the last while.
I haven't been counting calories the last couple of weeks. What I've been doing instead is just trying to like go with my how my clothes fit and stuff like that. Like I always have jeans on at some point each day. So like how does my belt feel on there? So I kind of like will know in that sense. Weighing yourself is tricky anyway. I feel like it's so your weight can fluctuate so.
Got your water weight. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, see, I don't really like to put. To me, I'm not to say like, I think all these things kind of fit into your assessment of your fitness or whatever, right? You're probably the best thing would be to be able to do your body weight.
Body
So,
fat, body
yeah,
weight.
I'm sorry, your
You know,
your body
I,
fat.
I also use resting heart rate to help. I mean, so those three things, what I use is like weight, fat percentage, and resting heart rate.
Well, I think one of the things that I'm probably going to want to do after the surgery and coming into recovery is, when I get the okay to start running, I think I want to work with you on like
Yeah, absolutely.
more of a focused training regimen to,
Oh, yeah.
to kind of get, because I'd like to be able to target a certain pace and to feel more confident on that
We'll
day.
build a plan, man. That's what
Yeah,
I do
so
for
we'll
every,
take a look at that.
every marathon. I
All
build a
things
plan.
being
Yep.
equal, as if I'm looking, if it's still, we'll get a good plan going.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do like a 4.5. I'd like to do like a 4.5 hour.
You tell me the target, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure.
All right. So we treated ourselves. How'd you feel about the wings today?
Loved. You know what? It was a surprise. I wasn't thinking about wings because last weekend was a Super Bowl, and the weekend after the Super Bowl, you normally don't have wings, right?
Right.
You're probably eating like kale or something.
Right.
So this was nice. Nice little surprise.
It
Liked
was nice. That
Yeah.
was good. Definitely felt good. All right, now we're going into an interesting
Ooh.
topic here: motivation. Right. So I think I've been struggling with my motivation lately.
For what? Like just motivated to do what?
Stay on track. Like even though
Your diet, your exercise.
yeah, just kind of like but I've done pretty good. I know I've what I've been able to do is this. I've been able to go through the motions, and I think that's an important thing. So not
Yes.
wanting to go on my walk, and then going on a 2-hour walk. That's doing it. So it doesn't matter, if you're how gung ho you are for it.
No, listen, that's so important. I tell it
Yeah.
to my son Andrew, who was running cross country. Some days you're just not going to feel it, but you got to do it. You got to have that consistency. That's so important.
How do you get that? Like, if you had like I don't know, like 2 to 3 ideas of what gets you your because I think you're a pretty consistent person with your diet and probably with your workouts.
For me, there's two things. The one that is actually based in reality and not in my mind, is eating well and not straining too much. Right. So every workout, I'm not doing too much, and it keeps me going. It keeps me feeling like I can go. And the second thing that's based all in my head is, I just think I'm a piece of garbage and I need to freaking get better and better and better. You know what I mean? Like I can't
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I don't run, then I'm even getting worse. And how much worse do I want to be? Right? And I know it's kind of messed up, but that's kind of the way.
Well, no, it's listen. I think, like you probably like think about like a Michael Jordan or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Think about a successful athlete. You could have, such a competitive personality that your self-talk has that bite to it, where you're kind of, like a demeaning.
Right.
And I think it just depends on.
What's wrong with you? Why aren't you doing?
Right,
Just,
and I think it depends on someone's resiliency, like with that type of thing. So, like, if that type of self-talk, like, ended up, making for a worse outcome,
Yeah.
then
it
that
would-
might be something that person's not. It's not going to work for them. It
Right.
cripples them.
Right.
It affects
the
everything.
mental and emotional toll
Right.
it takes on you is way.
And it probably trickles down into other things. And I'm sure that there have been athletes. Oh, we might be having a guest.
Oh,
We'll see.
Guest.
What are you doing?
Hey, welcome to Some Roads. Oh, here he goes. There he's gone. Usually, this is what happens with a lot of our guests. They kind of just
They come and go.
They come and go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that can happen. I think your self-talk. You know what? There's always room for examination there. I've even, as a therapist, had a few. I've worked with a few clients where there was a sports type of psychology aspect to it, like
Definitely, man.
where it was more about trying to really improve just this particular part, this competitive part of the person.
Yeah.
And that's not I'm sure there's therapists or psychologists that work exclusively in that stuff. That was never what I did, but the few times I was able to work with people in that way, I thought it was kind of cool.
Are you talking about like, I mean, like, so I every time I run, I put on Strava and I see how many activities I do a week.
Yeah.
I can compare it to my people, my friends. I can
Yeah.
compare my running time. Like, so that kind of drives me too, right? And so, like, is that what you're talking about? The sports? Is that?
Well, yeah, it could be that way. I mean, it could just be that you're competing like in that way with people. But actually working with some people that like are working within teams, with coaches and dealing with, lots of critiques and I think that's the thing, right? If you're, if, let's say if you're a baseball player, maybe maybe you're hitting 300. You have a good average, but your coach sees you as a 350 hitter.
Right.
So most of the world would look at you as successful. They're like, well, the guy's hitting 300, but then there's that smaller group which you interact with, which
probably has the
tries
most
to.
impact on your happiness
Right.
and your well-being anyway.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like, imagine like a professional athlete. Like they might have their diehard fans that are going to cheer for them, even if they strike out three times. But then there's going to be the noise that they hear are going to be the boos. Because they know that they're expected to hit better than they're hitting or something like that.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, I mean, I don't know.
We want
motivation.
Motivation.
Motivation. I mean, so what do you do to motivate yourself? You know what?
So from my self-deprecating kind of, look at how I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's the
right?
self-talk.
And it's definitely the wanting to get better each time. What is it for you?
I would say I used to have more of that with the negative self-talk and that kind of, but well, right now I feel like my motivation is definitely fleeting at best. I kind of
We got a tough situation, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think it shifts all over the place, so I think to a large degree, my motivation is more geared towards like, just being healthy.
Yep.
So
more basic things, yeah.
Yeah, but
you still got to be motivated. You still got to get yourself to do it.
I think that's where the idea with kind of bringing that 10th marathon into play,
Putting that goal out there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that will help me to, it'll help reinforce certain habits that I want to stick.
That's a lofty goal, right? Especially with what you got ahead of you. Oh.
Yeah.
So,
might be one of the callers.
Call from Dr. Lewis.
Dr. Lewis.
oh.
Call from Dr. Lewis.
No, it's Aunt Lois.
Oh.
Aunt Lois, if you're out there, if you're watching this later,
We'll call you back.
we'll call you back. So I know you're calling for my wife anyway.
Who's not here?
She's not here. She went out.
Bye. We can't come to the phone right now. Leave a
We'll just let
message
this
and
play.
we'll call you back. Bye.
It's a nice message.
Eric, this is Aunt Lois. When you have a sec, give me a call. Bye-bye.
There we go.
All right. Good. Right.
Good. Nothing.
Listen,
no crises.
Doesn't sound bad. So I think we can continue on.
Again, this week, this episode is brought to you by Lunwa, who's been a loyal sponsor. Unknowing.
We love
We
them.
haven't talked any details of our arrangement yet.
No.
And that's fine. Lunwa, I have all the patience in the world. And, one of these days you throw me a free poo-poo platter and we'll call it even. So, but motivation. So, you know what? I think that my motivation right now, I do tie it into that marathon because actually, you know what? I think for me, it just seemed like the opportunity seemed ideal for setting up something that would, I feel like, if I'm able to do that, it would be impressive to me. Okay, to go through the surgery, recover back to the point of being able to do a 10th marathon,
It's a lofty
in
goal.
my 50s. I think that, so I kind of like one of those.
Dude, I think doing
doing
a marathon in your 50s without having heart surgery is pretty good. So so I think you gotta,
and
that's a
then
big goal.
the side benefit of that would be that it would motivate me to kind of just get in shape and keep in shape, and then whether I did another, because as we were both saying, who's to say to do another one?
Who knows? It's such a devastating effect on you. You don't know.
Yeah, it might be like, oh, that
maybe not.
That hurt so bad. No way, never again. 10's perfect. You
But
know,
I think
so
that goal, I
we'll
think
see.
that's a good goal, and I think that you're the
fun.
kind of guy that's when you set that goal, you're going to basically do whatever you got to do to get there.
I think so. I
you
think
you got to keep that goal in mind. You
I
can't
think
lose the
so.
goal.
Just
Yeah.
looking for a little help from Dr. Lee, and then
Dr. Lee, baby, come through, baby.
Again, you know, 'cause Dr. Lee's gonna, you know, I told him he's got to get a good night's. Dr. Lee, if you're watching, you're not watching this. You better not. Dr. Lee, if you're watching this,
You should be studying
You
right
should
now.
be studying more about the heart.
Yeah.
Even though you know everything, you just never
Or
know.
practicing on other patients
Just
or
never know.
something.
Practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not if they didn't need the surgery.
Well, it's
Even
it's
if?
in the eye of the beholder.
That sounds so cryptic. So, I don't know. Randomly, we were thinking to throw in this topic here, the '80s. You know, because we have
It was a good time.
yeah, we just kind of always end up talking about things from the '80s. And who's that? Oh,
That's
hello there. Welcome.
Hello.
You're on the show now.
No way.
You're a part of
Yeah,
history.
You're on the History Channel.
What are you guys talking about?
Life.
Very cool.
We're talking about the '80s. Actually, do you have anything to say?
I wasn't born in the 80s, but
Are you sure?
Yes.
Very,
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
very sure I
Yeah.
wasn't born in the 80s.
Okay. Very well.
I think, yeah. All right.
Hello.
You missed out.
Hi, Christina. Christina's on now. All right, you guys will sign the waivers later.
Okay, cool.
Are they called waivers?
Waivers.
Waivers.
Waiver sounds good.
Waivers. Wafers. So, the '80s. I don't know. What do you think about when you think of the '80s?
A lot of different things. I mean, it depends on what sparked the memory. But for now, at this moment, I've been thinking about like the Breakfast Club or I want my $2. What the heck was that? Lane Myers, that kind of stuff.
Lane Myers.
Yeah.
No, what was that? What was that movie?
Not One Crazy Summer. No.
Lane Myers.
At the end he drives that awesome black Camaro.
Yeah.
It's great.
I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it.
I know, right? I watched that movie 1,000 times at least.
I don't know if
Better Off Dead.
Better off dead. Oh,
Yeah.
is it good? Is it not good to eat on the show?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think pretzels are okay.
no. It just looks so good.
What do you think about with the 80s?
I'll tell you what. A lot of times I think about baseball.
Yeah, definitely.
Think about baseball. Like my most fond memories of the '80s have to do with baseball.
Okay.
Playing baseball when I was a kid
Yeah.
in the early '80s, going to games, watching games.
Did you play
Yeah.
running bases?
Oh my God, we played running bases all the time.
That was a great game.
It was a really good game.
Yeah. We used to play between the sewer caps in the street.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it was great.
we had a, you know, I mean, the good thing about running bases, like you always had to have my buddy Nick. He was across the street from me. He had a real big tree, a big shade tree, and like that was the one base where there was enough grass and soft ground around the tree that you could like do like the best slides, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're running in, you know the guy's gonna throw that ball at you, try to nail
Yep,
you,
yep.
and you could do the head first slide, the hook slide, any kind of slide you want. So it was like the perfect spot. That was one of the main. I mean, sometimes
That's
I feel
cool.
like we would just play where just that was the only base we had.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could run halfway out, run halfway back?
Well, you could run around his whole home,
Oh, yeah.
and then so like you take off running, and then you could kind of just keep going either way. And but the whole game was set up so that you would have like those situations where, like you know, you were trying to throw a good slide in there and just missed that ball coming at you.
That was good.
Yeah, that was
that
great.
was fun, man. Good old
Wiffle
days.
ball was great too. Did you play a bunch of wiffle ball?
Probably spent from age 7 through 11 playing wiffle ball,
Mm-hmm.
like in the entire time. Just loved it. I remember, dude, just the amount of hours that my friend Glenn Harkins and I would play, dude. Oh my God! And I was in Long Island, so I would be. He'd pitch from the street. I would hit from my stoop,
Hi, Glenn.
and if you hit it over the street across and hit the roof of the house across the street, it was a home run.
Yeah.
Wow, it was just great. So good. Love that. And we would keep stats. Like we actually had a stat book. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was what you. I mean, like really, it's amazing because like that to me is like what people do with video games. It was just you didn't have that choice.
We'd have like a
You would you
computer
could make,
laying around.
Yeah, you could. you know,
No, we just kept it all ourselves. It was fun. It was
was a lot
awesome.
of fun.
Yeah, I love that.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I would guess that there's not as many kids doing that type of stuff as
I would agree with you on that. It just seems like it's a different day. It's just a lot more inside cool stuff to do. Like
Yeah.
if I had today, if there were the video games available to me that are like today,
yeah,
it'd be a different story.
I get it. No, I totally get it. And you know what? I think, in working with people, you got to always respect the tools of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, like, me and you might sit and go, oh, I can't believe this, or, why they should never replace that, but it doesn't matter what we think. This is a different
No,
time.
yeah. We're not. Yeah.
So, yeah, you have to, whether or not yet, whether or not.
We can't impose our beliefs on that on a different generation. They have, they got to deal with what they got to deal with. Everything's different.
Yeah, I'm not always someone that embraces, new things and.
No, it took you like what 10 years to get a smartphone?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe
How's that shiny new iPhone 3?
maybe I'd be better. Maybe I'd be better off without it, quite honestly. But
Maybe all of us would be.
I think that's the thing. It's like you don't have to embrace it. But you do, if you're, if you're thinking about how to continue to exist and participate in the world, you do have to have some acceptance of it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You can't live without that kind of stuff. Yeah, I guess there was no cell phones in the 80s though. Maybe
And,
there
and
was,
maybe
but
even there's even at some level a requirement of competency. So if you're a person right now that doesn't use a computer, I mean, it's not that
you're probably over the age of 60.
yeah, I mean, and not that you can't do that, but it's just there's certainly it kind of changes the way that you're going to need to live, but
Yeah.
maybe for the better. I mean, there's probably people that would say, yeah, it does. It changes your life for the better. I think that's a good debate to have. I mean,
Yeah, we got to put that on the list.
some people,
'Cause I'm totally opposite. I think the technology is what's saving us. I think it's yeah.
Well, how could I mean? Listen, here I am, about to.
You need some technology.
In 5 weeks. I'm going to need, the
yeah.
technology of being able to still be alive while my heart is stopped.
It's like magic.
Yeah. So either technology or some strong magic is
Yeah.
involved.
Or tequila, I think. Yeah.
I haven't heard about the tequila method, but
I think it's something. I look it up.
I would actually think that the science based technological
Science is
technologically
pretty good
based
stuff. Yeah.
route is the way to go for this procedure. So that's what I'm going to do.
It's good path.
But this brings us into our final topic. Let me just what's our time say up there?
2750.
Oh wow, okay, all right, good. I mean, my whole thing is I always think like under an hour is good. That's my whole thing. So, but we're doing good on time.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fine. Yeah,
Yep.
I don't think it needs to be a certain amount of time, but I always just feel like if it's over an hour, I kind of feel like I mean, if you're Joe Rogan and you've got Elon Musk there, then
4 or 5 hours is good.
have at it. But I don't know.
Our content is limited.
Yeah, I think we're just talking off the top of our head here.
We really are.
So, but spirituality was our final topic, which is pretty. That's a heavy.
broad.
It's pretty. It's broad. It's heavy.
It's heavy.
Could be heavy. So, but it's come up in our discussions before. So, I think it's actually I actually like talking about things like this. I don't know. What do you? Where do
Yeah,
you,
no, I mean, listen, I mean, I was telling you before that, basically I believe that there's a head of lettuce that I pray to that rules the world. And that's what
Romaine?
he changes. Sometimes he's green leaf, sometimes he's red leaf.
I don't know. I was gonna say I really don't even know much about lettuce. Yeah.
No, I'm just messing with. No, I did. We talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It's deep. I mean, I especially like, considering what you're about to go through. I'm sure that adds to a lot of the, thoughtness or thoughtfulness on this.
Well, here's the thing. We just talked about this while we were having some wings before, but I feel like, unfortunately, it's unfortunate that this is a hard topic for people to talk about, and just because I think it's first of all I think it's a very interesting, thing to talk about. I mean, like you ask somebody, what they think of their reality, of their spirituality, of life after death, and I don't know if I was to ask someone their you know, what their thoughts on these things are, I don't expect them to have it all neatly wrapped up for me and figured out. I really
No,
don't.
This
But
is, yeah, it's messy.
yeah, but I feel like a lot of times that people do.
Well, I
But not always. I mean, maybe, you know, not always. But I feel like a lot of times people want that. They want you to say, "Well, I'm this is my religion, and so
Well,
this is
I'm
this."
Christian, so I believe in this paradigm, or I'm
Right.
Jewish, I believe in it, whatever, right? Yeah, no, I get you. But I see, like, to me, I don't put spirituality and religion in the same bucket. Like, to me,
Oh, yeah.
spirituality is more internal, and religion is more celebrated with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you kind of get more benefit out of the other people being there a lot of times.
Yeah.
Right? Spirituality is all, the way I see it, has always been just me.
And I listen,
You know, like my internal view on the world and how I want to
Sure.
treat others and project myself in there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just, you know.
And I do feel like that. Like I like religion. I think like religion to
Oh, yeah,
me,
man,
I'm
yeah.
fascinated by it. If you wanted to talk about your head of lettuce
Sure.
and all the practices that go along with
We
that
do.
religion, I would be. And I'm being serious. I mean, obviously, we're talking about
Right.
something you're joking about, but I'm being serious in that I would love to hear about it. Like if you had a view, a religious practice that was maybe just so unique, like no one maybe knew anything about it.
Right.
Maybe it was something you made up. I would be part of me. I mean, part of that is being a therapist. You know, like
Yeah.
when people come to me,
No judgment.
I can't, you know, you can't really have a judgment of that person. Like, you know, you're obligated, to give them that space
Yeah.
to be who they are without your judgment. And you're there to help them in whatever way they think they need
That's
help,
the only way it works.
you know? So I think just doing that type of work for so long, it kind of opened me up to like where you could tell me pretty much anything. And I would say like, all right. You know, and maybe, you know what, sometimes people aren't always so sincere and so accurate with you know, the things that they share. And you know, so, you know, you have to learn to take some things with a grain of salt. You know, you have, you know, so you'll hear people say things it'll blow your mind, but, you know, sometimes it's not really always so representative of really who they actually are. It's just maybe a moment in time,
Okay.
you know, I don't know. And which is kind of crazy in the world that we live in too, because right now we live in a little bit of a world where sometimes people get punished for that moment in time. They say that wrong thing,
Well,
and yeah,
I mean, we live in a world where you can get punished for speaking at 140 characters per message. Right? You know what I mean? Like this crazy. So you can't express an idea.
Right.
And, you know, you're just going to get clobbered no matter what you do, right? So yeah.
and that does kind of tie into what, you know, like we're talking about spirituality, and,
Right,
and like
but,
you
you
know,
know-
here we are basically saying, you know, what our viewpoints are, and even though we're saying that we're open, right? Like I'm saying, hey, I'm open. Whatever you want to tell me. If you tell me I don't believe in anything, you know, I think there's nothing after, or I think there's reincarnation, or I think this, I think you go here, and you know what, I would never tell somebody that's crazy, you know, because I don't know.
No,
I don't
I'm
know.
not in
And-
their shoes. You know
and
what
I
mean?
like the
you
not
know.
knowing. I'm not like, you know, that's never, I don't know, for some reason that's never bothered me. I guess what I decided to do is just try to, like most religions, let's just say, like, you know, I definitely believe in a creator, a higher power. I definitely have
So
that.
you
That's me
think
personally.
there's some grand creator,
Yeah.
all the science somehow in a way, like,
Yeah.
I feel similarly.
Yeah.
All this, everything you can explain scientifically to a point, and that point for me is,
Yeah.
well, then who started it all? What
Yeah.
started? Like, what's, you know, there's always that question you can ask it about. So you got to, you know, that to me is.
And I keep that idea of a creator pretty loose. I mean, like
Oh yeah, I mean it could be a guy with
Yeah, I don't
a bunch of
even-
Legos, or it could be some crazy
Right.
cosmic thing we don't understand. You know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I kind of, I don't know. I know it's kind of funny because I know even that's something that has come up with clients. You know, even that, you know, they get into that piece of their, you know, where that part of their life where they're struggling with those things. You know, and it can be unsettling to someone to feel like so uncertain about an important question like that, right? Like, you know, the origins of who you are and what
Right.
it all means, all that stuff. And you know, to me, my perspective always is that this is a good thing. This is not something to be threatened
depends.
by.
It depends. I mean, yeah, it depends. You know what I mean? Like it depends on how your life is going, I guess.
Sure.
Right?
And if someone, and that's the thing, and I guess what it comes down to is I feel like if I've got a perspective on it, and you have a perspective on it, and our perspectives might be slightly different, or maybe they're completely
Totally
different, can't that be okay?
Of course.
That's yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to for me is that
Well, yeah, we drifted off from spirituality, but yeah.
yeah, a little. I mean, we're talking about religion, but it's hard to I think separate them completely. I don't know. I don't know. What else? What else is important when it comes to spirituality for you?
To me, it's always been about like guiding yourself, right and wrong. Like your morality, your internal, personal morality, right? Like that. I think you get a lot of that from your upbringing and your religious, however you were raised, religious or not religious, whatever your parents believed are going to get pushed down, to you.
Yeah.
But at some point in life, you start to form your own opinion about that stuff, right? And you use all the things and all the influences. And so I was raised Catholic. My mom taught, religion every week, and I was at church every Sunday. I married an Episcopal whose family is very followed the church very much, and so I've always had that Christian, impact. But at the end of the day, I don't know if that's my true spirituality, right? That's what's guided me and given me my general principles. But what to me, it's what drives your moral decisions. You know what I mean? Like what makes you think about what's right and what's wrong, and what gives you those decision points. And it's not, to me, it's not always religion. I think you can warp religion into making some very bad and damaging decisions and to hurt other people. I think if you use, to me, the spirituality would be that you internalize it and have your own code of morality, right?
Yeah.
And ethics. That's what it is to me, anyway.
I think so too, and I think the thing where people do, I would see this too. Again, this is one of those things that would come up in therapies where, like people say have anxiety or depression, and a lot of times there are pieces of what's happening in their life where you can see clearly that their actions and their values are misaligned.
Yeah.
And I think that disrupts people's emotional state. Like
time.
I'm a good guy, but I'm keep doing this wrong. And obviously you can get into all kinds of discussion about what's right and wrong. I mean, that's not the point.
No, but if you're not
It's that
internally
personal
aligned,
wrong.
dude, if you're not aligned
Yeah.
with what what your vision of what you should be with the way you're acting, that is a huge problem.
And maybe that's
Right.
kind of thinking about my motivation, that's maybe where I'm able to go through the motions. I can do that because, I feel like, the whole idea of doing a 10th marathon, of being a fit person, I can't actualize that unless I put in the work, unless,
Oh, yeah.
so that's kind of feeds into that, if you want to be this thing, then you need to do the things that will let you be that thing.
Absolutely, you got to do the right
So-
things according to you, right? You got to do the things that for better or worse, make you feel good about yourself, right? Not necessarily feel good physically or whatever, but give you that internal satisfaction that I did the thing that I thought I should do, based in my framework of my morality. That's so. If you're not living in your own morality, you got a problem, right? You're going to be conflicted. It's a real big problem. You got to fix that. You got to recognize it and fix it, or else it's going to really tear you apart. You'll never be happy. You'll never be satisfied. Yeah, for sure.
This is a good, it was a good, I think that was a good ending topic for us.
That was the end.
I think that was pretty good. Is there anything, what do you think? Is there anything that's coming to your mind before we wrap up? That's anything going on right now?
Well,
or-
we're doing a 10 o'clock mass at the Head of Lettuce Chapel, so you can.
All right.
Yeah, you're welcome to attend. That's Sunday, by the way, not tomorrow. Sunday. Yep. And it's Valentine's Day, so we might have a heart-shaped head of lettuce that day.
Oh man. Well,
What about you? Anything else?
I would like to go to church actually. I like church.
I've gone to church
yeah.
a million times. Yeah, man.
No, it's funny because I had this conversation a few times recently about like how beautiful some of the churches are.
Oh, yeah.
I love stained glass.
Churches have a lot of that.
Yeah, when you go in there and you the sun is shining through and oh man, I don't know. And a lot of times they might have different types of sense burning and stuff
Oh, yeah.
like that. I mean, churches can be really, I don't know, they talk about spirituality. Just the physical place, when you have
Definitely puts you in a different mood, a different context, right? We went to what's the one in Westminster Abbey in London. Wow, man, that was unbelievable. Like, the feel like it's like there's people buried in there from 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that there's sacred places?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if it's sacred in terms of the universe, but I think they're sacred in terms of humanity. Like, you know what I mean? Like in either the entire humanity or your own local groups, right? Like,
Well, it's
and I
been-
think those matter. I think that that makes you feel a certain way and perceive the world a certain way. Yeah, for sure.
Right. I mean, right. I think you're like something doesn't have to be organically sacred. That sacred designation could have been assigned by humans.
Well,
let's
something
say.
happened. Like,
Something
something happened
happened
there. That, like
Right.
some event happened, regardless if it was human or not, that made people feel special about it, right? And
Right.
it lasted till now, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no sacred places that just got made yesterday. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot,
Well,
right?
I don't know though.
Well, maybe like some famous person, like maybe where Kobe Bryant helicopter went down. That could be a sacred place to some, right?
Yeah, like there's a tattooer named Rob Ryan. I know
Yeah.
I probably have talked about.
Yeah.
I've been tattooed by Rob. Always will talk about Rob. Rob has done like podcast interviews and stuff like that before, and he was talking about. He also is on, like if he ever watches this, I'm probably like just butchering whatever he's doing, but definitely on a spiritual path, and he's makes these pilgrimages to India, and he's got like these gurus, these teachers, and he was telling basically how in all these quests that he's gone on and going to India and trying to learn these practices and everything that these gurus have at times turned to him and said, whatever you're looking for here is at home too.
It's inside.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where and that I think that is a lot of truth to that. Like, you can go and search these cool places, and I can understand why certain things are attractive. Like, like we wanted to go to Denver.
Yeah.
We went to Denver. I mean, there's so many places I would want to go to, but a lot of times, what your motivation is to go to this place or that place, it's things that are within you typically, that things that can be addressed wherever you are.
Doesn't matter, especially when you're talking about the spirituality of it all, right? I mean, that's your internal self, that's your internal person. You got to be, if you got, like I said, if you got problems there, you're never going to settle. You're never going to be happy. And all, you can go to India, you can go to China, you can go to wherever, Cambodia, to those, those temples,
Yeah.
like Angkor Wat or whatever. You're still not going to, until you get it inside your own self, you're not going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
I went to India. I
I
went to a
know.
temple.
I know.
And I went through there was some kind of ceremony going on like I've never seen, right? Like I'm brought up Christian my entire life. It was awesome. I mean, I'll tell you, it was one of the most very interesting things I've ever seen in my life. Like just in this temple, it was built like 1,200 years ago with this intricate like rock carvings into it. Like it told the story, but the story must have been like the Bible long, right? And it was but it carved into rock. And then you're inside this, and it's like 150, 200 people all going through this ceremony, and you're standing there as an outsider. It was very cool,
Yeah, I
very interesting.
yeah, like I even think about like now. I mean, I grew up without religion, and which is fine. I don't really have any, I don't feel like, my parents did anything wrong in that way. They, I think at one point asked me, "Do you still want to go to this Sunday school at this Methodist church?" And I said no, because it got in the way of NFL.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So they were like, it must have gotten in the way of something for them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were like, okay. But that was fine actually. I kind of almost feel like that was a good thing in a way, because it kind of let me think about things on my own, I
Yeah,
guess.
get your own perspective.
And it's kind of funny too, because like then think about when I grew up, like you had limited exposure to things really. You know what I mean? Like if I wanted to go learn about India and Hindu culture and
Yeah, where were you going to get that information?
I would have to
from?
go and I would like it was more involved. Like I would have had to go to the library and look specifically for those things.
Dewey
And
Decimal System.
and it might have been limited. Maybe the library wouldn't have had much or had anything, or had a limited information. Where now if I had grown up in that way, I can only imagine, because I really feel like if, it's almost like if they had like a, like a job fair. Like if religions had like a job fair, and you get
Come
to
to
walk,
our religion,
yeah, come to
yeah.
our, hey. Like I think if I went through the whole job fair, I probably would end up with, I think most of my interest being in the Hindu religion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just because I think I
Alright.
like all of the, it's just, when you look at like the statues and the deities and
Very
the
cool stuff,
color,
yeah.
like it just seems like such a vibrant,
Lots of stories,
Lots
lots
of
of
sto-
India,
right,
like
you
lots
know.
of detail, lots of different. Yeah, it's very cool.
but I don't know, now I don't think I would ever look at a religion now, in the sense of like where I would want to be searching for an answer within that format. Like
No,
I
no religion is going to save me. You know what I mean. Like I gotta have the. Let me say it differently. The dogma or the structure of the religion. Whatever that might help, but the inner peace isn't going to come from that, right?
I don't, I don't think so. Like, and listen, that's not to like
Maybe
if-
some people will get it though. Some people might
if-
get it out of that.
Totally. If someone says, you know what,
God bless you.
this is my religion, I follow it to the letter. This is
That's
my
awesome.
my practices. This is my place of worship, and this is how I'm very consistent in my. I would love that. I
Yeah.
love that for that person.
My mom's like that a lot.
Your mom's like
oh,
that.
very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
very much.
No, I might even, and you know what? I think my my in-laws and I think I think the generation that we're in now, I think
We lost a little bit of that.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we've lost it. I don't know, because I feel like I probably don't have a good knowledge base there. It would be just me guessing about it. But I definitely think that the way technology provides just this super wealth of information, I think you're able to think about the world and your place in it in such a sophisticated way.
Yeah.
And you're influenced by a lot of different things that you see. You can influence people. It's a real interesting time to be a deep thinker,
Oh, for sure. You
which
got a
is
lot
why I think we wanted to like start having like conversations that we would
Right.
record, in this way, just because, it definitely. I don't know. I like conversations like this.
Definitely. Yeah, go deep a little bit or
Yeah, because I never really feel like to me, if we had someone else in here that was like saying you guys are wrong,
That'd be- yeah,
and it's
fine.
this way and that way, I would be like, all right,
Well, tell me about it.
that's interesting. That's
That's your
whoever-
view.
Yeah, that's your
That's
view.
the way you see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know. I always think there's room for that.
That's the whole. That's the best part about conversation, right? Is hearing other people's thoughts. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, because you change. I definitely have changed.
I'm not saying this is written in stone. Talk to me next week. I might change my mind. Because I might have learned something new. Something may have changed. I may have experienced an event or something that may change my view of how I see all this. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I think in a lot of ways, even just what I think just the thing that the stuff that's going on in our lives at this point in our lives, there's a lot of heavy stuff going on,
Yeah.
and it's given us time to it kind of stops you in your tracks.
Yeah. It makes you think about the important things.
You think about
Yeah.
and which is why you end up having wings.
Yeah. Because what the hell?
Because what the heck?
All right.
You can say hell too. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
HE double hockey sticks.
I mean, the only sponsors we have are Lunwa,
That's true.
and they don't even know it.
Yeah. Rowan University is not a sponsor. Yeah.
Not yet.
No. Probably
We're
not
gonna-
ever.
Probably not ever. They probably won't ever join the team. But anyway, so that was a good ramble. I think
That was good.
We did a
We
good
did a lot.
job, and you know what?
We went all over the place.
Yeah, we'll tackle it again next time.
All right.
So, guys, thank you for watching. If you watch this whole thing, I mean,
You get a medal. You get a prize.
What kind of craziness that must be?
Yeah, fax us or fax us. Oh my God, fax us your
Send us a
bank
fax.
account number. And
If
we'll,
you're,
yeah,
if you watch this whole thing, fax. What did you want them to fax?
or their bank account number. We'll put money in it.
I mean, you don't have to do that.
No, probably not a good
You
idea.
don't have to. Yeah, I don't even want you to do that. That's why we're not going to give you our fax. That's private. And we're not sure where it is.
I think it's in your closet, but we got.
I used to have a fax. Not long ago. I used to have a
I
thermal
think I
fax.
still do.
Did a thermal fax, and thermal fax is like an etch a sketch.
Yeah. It's all jagged lines. Yeah.
No, it literally just it disappears, man. It just
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I have like old stuff printed on it, and you go back and look at it now.
It's gone?
It's gone.
Oh.
It's gone. Anyway, we're gone, just like Thermalfax. That's gonna be our next sponsor, Thermalfax.
There you go.
Bye, guys.